Hello, and welcome to Let's Talk Tech with Apps Associates. Apps Associates is a premier enterprise applications and technology advisor, counseling and executing across every stage of the enterprise transformation journey. In this new series, we're bringing you insights and advice from our experts across the organization, highlighting emerging trends in enterprise technology management and giving you real-life examples of how these trends can impact your business. My name is Molly. I'm a marketing manager at Apps Associates, and I'll be helping to guide our discussion today. Today, we're going to cover bots and how creating and automating bots can make a big impact in your daily workload. And at Apps, not only do we build these type of technology for our customers, but we also employ it in our internal teams. To help me talk through this today, we have a group of associates across the organization who have used or built these bots in various departments. So I'm joined by Preeti Lobo, who runs our business integration and automation practice, Kim Nicolosi, our Director of InfoSec and Corporate Governance, TJ Gladwell, one of our Managing Principal Consultants, and Jill Quintiliani, our Chief Financial Officer. Okay, so let's just dive right in. Preeti, to kick us off and just to make sure that everyone is on the same page, do you want to give us an overview of how we classify bots and RPA and how they work together in different scenarios?
Sure, thank you, Molly. So what is RPA? RPA is the short form for robotic process automation. Essentially, it refers to the automation of manual processes using robots, or bots for short. Whenever people think about bots, they're thinking about those bots that we saw in Star Wars, like R2-D2, C-3PO, and things like that. So essentially, a human personified object. But that's not what we're referring to here. When we refer to a bot, we're referring to a piece of software that sits on your machine and performs tasks that a human would at a keyboard. So what can a bot do? As an example, think of something a person does routinely at a keyboard. Maybe you have someone who has to enter data from a paper invoice or a document into a system. Maybe you have someone who has to log into multiple different systems, execute processes in those systems, download reports, merge those reports, and then create a finalized report to share with the leadership team. All of these tasks can be done by bots. We have customers who have implemented bots, and those bots have lifted so many manual burdensome tasks off of resources that it has actually generated more interest in developing bots across teams. Closer to home, we saw the same results as well. So now you have happy employees who aren't groaning about doing burdensome tasks at work, and you have happy organization, which is running much more efficiently as before. Speaking of efficiency, that was a huge driver in implementing bots within apps, like within the finance team, right, Jill?
Yeah, it really all started this one day. I was looking over the shoulder of a team member creating a journal entry to post payroll. And I'm so self-aware enough that I'm not always the most patient person, but after watching for 5 minutes of somebody scrolling through a 50-page PDF looking for one particular number, I was like, there has to be a better way to do this. Mm-hmm. So gathered up my patience and walked through the process end to end. And then your team joined, Preeti, and basically just recorded the screen of what are the steps that my team's taking to do this. And it was essentially convert a PDF file to a CSV file, do some Excel manipulation, some text to columns, some VLOOKUPs, and then produce a CSV output in a journal entry format and log into the financial system and post the journal entry. So we did all that. And then what used to take a human an hour was now being done by a bot in less than 5 minutes. And on top of that, it's not prone to fat fingering or transposing a number on the keyboard. It was a process that, the bot doesn't make mistakes like that. And it was also much tighter in terms of internal controls. A computer program posts the payroll, so there's really no human intervention in there. And then I started telling other team members, hey, I have a bot that can do VLOOKUPs and post journal entries, and people got excited. It actually expanded out internally for us into contracts, a bunch of our reporting needs, really cumbersome month-end process. Anything that was repeatable, we could deploy a bot on.
Yep.
Kim, I feel like your team has had a lot of success with creating a little bit more efficiency with these bots too. Can you talk a little bit about how your team is using them?
Sure. So right now, the app security team performs a reoccurring process to review our security controls today. And the most recent security control we reviewed was access controls. And we have a very robust process today, right? We have a ticketing system. We have a daily email that goes out, a ticketing system, the appropriate approvals, and then any changes to, employment they're made almost instantly. But in reviewing the access control process, I thought, it would be great if we just took one additional step and notified our customers, right? So originally the security team was doing this manually. So we would get the daily email, we would see the associate name, the customers they work for, we would look up the PMs or the supervisors, and then we would reach out to them via email. And after doing this for a while, we decided that we would talk to the automation team and kind of show them what our process is today and see if they have recommendations to help us, right? Because it's just another manual task that we're taking on within the department. And in such a very short period of time, they came back to us with a bot that actually picks up the daily email. It identifies the associate. It lists all the customers that the associate may be working for, the project manager and the supervisor, and it will take that email and send it directly to the project manager and the supervisor, notifying them that they should contact the customer on established communication channels and let them know that there's a change to a resource on an engagement. To further simplify the process, we actually even put a template in the email that goes out, so that a notification template. So literally to notify our customers, it's a couple of clicks, and it has just worked fantastically. It's efficient. It has freed up the security team to work on other important tasks, and the feedback we've received from customers has been very positive. They recognize the fact that we're taking additional steps to secure their systems and their services. And it's been such a good experience for us that we're now investigating other opportunities to be able to use the bot technologies.
That's great, Kim. TJ, you had an idea for a bot in your space and you worked with our team to develop it. Could you talk about what that bot was, how it's being used for projects, for clients, and some of the cool aspects of the data transformation and mapping it does?
Sure, Preeti. Hi, and thank you for allowing me to share this opportunity with you all. I am the Oracle ERP Financial Architect for Oracle Cloud implementations. So these projects include various forms of data conversion, migration, cleansing, and transformation at some level. And for every project, these data requirements are different. Data transformation is often an iterative process as we design the financial systems and charts of accounts for how this ERP system captures the client's transactions and produces financial reporting data. So everything comes down to the financial statements, as you know, P&L, balance sheets, etc. So the accounting team is responsible for providing the bridge from their old system, their old chart of accounts, to the new ones, from their old asset locations to the new ones, old sales reps to new ones, old enterprise configurations to the new ones, and the list goes on. Before we created the app's MapBot tool, this involved working with their IT team to extract the data and code these various mappings, cleansings, etc., within their custom extraction program logic. Often, prior to loading the data into Oracle Cloud, our technical team had to write additional code to complete the mappings on our end as well. So there was a lot of development, a lot of software programming happening behind the scenes. And as you can imagine, these technical layers on both sides of the data migration can be complex and take lots of time and trials to get it right. The app's MapBot removes those technical layers and allows the business leads to define the mappings and rules all within an Excel workbook. Hence, the client technical teams performs the raw data extract, and the app's MapBot does the data transformation. Then the app's technical team loads the data. Data mapping and programming is no longer required since the app MapBot, it's a lot in there. App's MapBot interprets the mapping rules provided by the client and produces the ready to load system formatted files. So this process can be repeated as many times as needed to ensure the mapping is correct. In anticipation of this iterative activity, we built a validation mode into the MapBot, which saves additional time where the newly mapped values are compared side by side to the source data in a separate, easy to read Excel spreadsheet. So before even loading the data into the Oracle Cloud, our clients can verify with 100% accuracy the map data and repeat this step until it's 100% correct. So, to list a few other important and what I call kind of cool things to point out on how our apps map bot works. Again, it's 100% Excel based. So we're using a familiar tool, an environment that most accountants and business folks are already, familiar with, at least at a cell level, maybe some basic formulas, that kind of thing. But at least they can input and read the mapping rules and verify the output files. So that's the first thing. The actual bot handles simple one-to-one mappings and up to complex many-to-many column mappings. So for example, a one-to-one mapping might be an old company value to a new company value, or an old department to a new one, et cetera. The list goes on. Many-to-one could be like, how do you map, the client may say to us, well, we have a location here in a department, but that's actually the combination that's going to map to a new department. So we can say, all right, in the tool, define the rule that says when you see a location value of this and a department value of that, then map the new department value to this. A buyer and a deliver address on a purchase order could be mapped to a new department, et cetera. And then as far as the highest level, the more complex many-to-many mapping, we can have department and natural accounts being mapped to a new business unit in a location, for example. So we're taking two columns from this legacy data and we're mapping it to two columns in the new chart of accounts and so forth. The other cool thing that I think really expanded the use of this tool is that we can map any combination of numeric text and alphanumeric values. So we're not just limited to, for instance, chart of accounts, numeric values. We can map, as I said earlier, asset locations. The client may have a list that is sort of redundant, but people, instead of typing in, street, spelled out street, they might just put in ST period or just put in ST. Well, this is sort of more of a data cleansing where we can say, we're going to map everything that comes in those different combinations to whatever they decide as the final value, like street spelled out. And the other powerful feature of this tool is that we can process any number of files and deliver them ready for loading. So for instance, we're loading 36 months of historical general ledger history data, balance data from the GL. And the client has their extract written where they produce 36 files, because maybe one file would just be too large to handle. So the bot can actually take those 36 files from the input folder, do all the data transformation and the mapping, and produce 36 files in the output folder that is ready to load into our production system. So the bot now enables our client's business team to quickly and independently define and validate their data transformation. In the past, the business lead waited for a programmer to update the mapping code and reload mapping tables, etc., before being able to validate the mapping changes. So you can see how removing the data transformation software development efforts streamlines and shortens this critical implementation activity. Another use for our apps MapBot is that our clients can use it for external third-party system integrations with similar data requirements. So when we set out to build the apps MapBot, we wanted to create a simple, repeatable, scalable, risk, time, and cost-reducing tool that makes our clients' projects run smoother, reducing the data conversion risk and effort. This also saves our clients money. I'm proud and grateful to say that we have accomplished these goals, and our clients have shared the same sentiments.
Yeah. It sounds like there's a lot of similarities between kind of the efficiencies gained for our clients with that and what Jill had seen kind of internally, and especially with all of those, sometimes thousands of rows of data, a human trying to transcribe that, you can see a million ways that could go wrong. And I feel like that's something that I've learned in this process is that, you know, a bot is not just a mystical thing that's working in the background somewhere. It's actually in, you know, an Excel program that people would use every day. It's really kind of tangible in that way. You can see the efficiency of it. And it's clear from listening to you guys talk that there's been a lot of excitement in our internal teams as we're building these and as we're developing them. What are some of the reactions that you guys have seen from your teams or customers when you're launching the bots?
The phrase I kept getting was wow. Our contracts team had been pitched some AI software for reviewing agreements, and we were actually able to replicate that internally simply by dropping a document in a folder and having the bot scan the document for keywords like insurance or indemnification. Now, it's important to note that we wouldn't just have the bot, then go and actually interpret what those clauses meant. The bots do the more like repeatable, mundane processes. The higher level analytical processes still need human input.
You're so right, Jill. You know, something that we're always sure to emphasize in our client projects is exactly that. Bots do not replace workers, rather they help workers be more efficient, and this often leads to greater employee satisfaction. I think, TJ, you had a point to state as well earlier about how this was received.
Yeah, every time we're starting off a project and I'm called in to demonstrate how this bot can help our clients with various areas, the excitement, you could just feel the excitement in the call, and the business leads and the technical team are both like, you know, anxious to get their hands on this tool and start to play with it. So it's been very exciting and very rewarding, and I love to see like how they can actually visualize how this bot can help them.
Yeah, that's great.
And I would say too that, you know, it doesn't matter scale, right? We've talked about small things like the way the security team is implemented to, you know, very large scale, right? Where Tony's using it for large data sets, right, to manipulate. But I think looking back, right, the feedback is always, wow, you know, we've just freed up some resources, right, to be able to work on something else. It's timely, it's efficient, right? And where else can we apply those gains? And I think no matter what your function is, no matter what team you work on, there's always opportunity here to implement some kind of bot technology.
Back to Jill's point as well, as far as the mundane tasks, you know, what I always tell the functional leads on our projects, the business owners on the client side, is that they're now able to elevate their job level responsibilities to quality control and reviewing the data versus having to worry about being a data entry clerk and worrying about, you know, fat fingering or transposing numbers, that kind of thing. So we really take that role of data entry and elevate it to, you know, quality assurance, you know, P&L, you know, cleansing and that kind of thing. So it's always, you know, well received.
And I can understand how, you know, a customer seeing hours of their task time reduced to a few minutes would just be really exciting to free them up for stuff that they've been wanting to work on. Like you said, just elevating their job a little bit more. And I really liked your point, Kim, on scale. You know, it doesn't have to be this, you know, looming giant that you implement. You can start little by little. And on that theme, Preeti, as you lead our BIA team, that, you know, creates a lot of automation, what would you say are key success factors for people who want to start implementing this, if they want to start small or if they have a lofty goal in mind?
Yeah. So I'd like to quote Bill Gates here. He said, the first rule of any technology used in business is that automation applied to an efficient process will magnify the efficiency. And the second is that automation applied to an inefficient process will actually magnify the inefficiency. So to Kim's point, you know, I think when you start, you should start small, start with a task or a process that people have been doing manually for over 6 months, because then you know all the nuances related to that process and you can account for it. Versus just going blind about something that nobody has actually done consecutively or for a longer period of time. And to get the biggest bang for your buck here, you want to look at repetitive, manual, high volume, error-prone tasks, because that will get you the most benefit, like how Jill and TJ talked about. Now, going back to what Jill said, somebody does have to look at certain things in some of the processes that we've automated, and that is okay. You may have to intersperse manual intervention as part of the automation, but you can still gain efficiencies over 80% of the process. And so it's still worthwhile to consider the entire process and see which parts can be automated and not back off just because it can't be automated 100%. And finally, messaging is important. Most people tend to look at it positively and say, wow, now I can focus on these high-level cognitive tasks. But, as with all change, some people might be hesitant, maybe also resistant to change. So it's important to think about the emotional impact on people. But you can mitigate that fear with change management, training, and education. If you show examples of how this actually helps the employee do better at their job and enables them to take on more cognitive level thinking, and that it's not going to actually diminish their value to the organization, it's going to actually enhance it, I think all of this will contribute to the success of automation.
Yeah, those are great points.
I think I'd just add on to what Kim was saying is like if somebody wanted to start small, Preeti, I'm not aware of any limitations of the applications that these bots can work in. So, I mean, right now, internally, we have bots working in Excel. We have them working in Adobe. We have them working in Outlook, sending emails. They're logging into our financial system. I think anything that you're clicking with a mouse or keying in on a keyboard, I believe a bot can do. Is that correct, Preeti?
Absolutely, you're 100% right. I'm so glad you brought that up. So a bot, if a human being is going into your laptop and logging into any system, email, PowerPoint, whatever it is, SharePoint, ERP systems, financial systems, expense systems, it does not matter what it is. All it needs is a login and a password. And as long as you just show the navigation to the bot, it will actually do all of those tasks for you. So it is not limited to any system at all. That's a great point. Thank you, Jill, for bringing that up.
Yeah, that's great to know because I know a lot of businesses use a wide variety of these programs and sometimes, have to use multiple programs for a single process. So it's good to know that bots can work in anything that you have in your tech stack.
We're looking at other opportunities as well in my current project where they receive inventory in a third-party application and get a CSV file out of that, and they don't want to have to go into the Oracle Cloud and receive all of that and enter all those transactions. So I'm talking with Preeti right now about another opportunity to be able to automate that, Excel file, that CSV file, to be basically keystroked into the receiving application within the inventory module in Oracle. So yeah, the list goes on and it is unlimited.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just to circle back on that last point is, when an organization or a team starts implementing it, it really does go viral. People want to do it, more and more people want to get bots, and then the list becomes long. But it's great because people are involved, they want to enable efficiency in the organization, and they're excited about it. And that's what you want, right? You want people to come into work and be excited about what they're doing and the changes that are coming through.
Yeah, I think you mentioned it at the beginning that, this can lead to happy employees, which can lead to a happy company. And it's kind of funny if you take a step back, like people are getting really excited about it and they're getting excited about, a CSV file import somewhere. It's like, that's usually a mundane part of your job, right? But they're really excited about it. So I think that just kind of speaks to how it can elevate your work experience. Well, Preeti, Kim, Jill, TJ, thank you guys so much for your time and conversation today. This was really great. And to our listeners, I hope you found this engaging and useful, and maybe it sparked some ideas for your own work processes and how you could streamline some of those. If you're interested in learning more about this topic, feel free to reach out to any of us on LinkedIn or visit our website at appsassociates.com. I'm sure TJ would love to talk to you more about the apps map spot. And thank you guys so much for listening. And until next time.